This time I will talk about something which is different from the regular projects. It's actually an educational activity. I would like to look at it as a form of makerspace that's run in over 2 weeks. You take 43 intelligent, hardworking students. You add an inspired instructor. You add a regular one just for the contrast of it. Then take some other lecturers, knowledgeable in the field, interested in what they're doing, interested in reaching out to young people, getting entrepreneurs that can give cases of how they succeeded and how they're working and the difficulties that they faced. And you add all that in a place with rainy weather and far from the fun of downtown Stockholm, and eventually you make 43 young entrepreneurs in 2 weeks. That's what we hoped, that at least we got to start from. So the purpose of the summer school is to, since we are part of the FNS action line, it's important they connect to the technology that this action line deals with. So Henrik gave an overview in the beginning, and we picked out the Internet of Things because we believe that is the technology area where it's much easiest, or the easiest for young people to speculate and come up with ideas. There's less prior art, and they don't get locked in as it could be in other areas. So given that, we have allowed them to explore various ideas. We challenge them on the ideas in order to start to see what opportunities they could have if they were to start a business in Internet of Things. With that, they work on the ideas that they eventually selected, and they created a business case for it that was analyzed, and this caused us inspiration and the curiosity of seeing that actually in the 2 weeks' time they could make a case which is quite strong, as you will have an opportunity to witness later on. And of course there is instruction also, not so much technology, but mostly in terms of the business techniques that they need in order to work out the business idea. So modeling, using the business canvas, and marketing strategy, financing, whatever it takes. And an idea may not be so powerful if it cannot be communicated. And at least seeing from KTH, where I'm active, we don't drill our students very well in communication. They write awfully and they present awfully. So here we also had an opportunity to have them pitching the idea, giving a 30-minute speech or 20-minute like I'm doing now. That might be much easier than to give a concise idea in 3 minutes or 30 seconds or so. And eventually they wrote up the idea with the whole analysis they've done, and that was handed in as the final assignment of the 2-week course. It was handed in 2 weeks after the summer school ended, and that was a 10-page report, so they also had to practice group writing and saying what they had to say in 10 pages. So the contents, just going over a list, but innovation theory, lean startup, market trends, value chains, business modeling, as I mentioned, technology, addressing Internet of Things, very applied, no analysis tools, no methods, but really understanding how various protocols, various system components work in Internet of Things, so they could start creating a solution for their business idea that they had. Standardization, we had a talk from Etsy on standardization, which is very critical for startups so that they can know that their whatever system they invent will interoperate with other systems, or that the components they will build on will be working and they can trust the interfaces there. Privacy and security is a big thing for Internet of Things, so we had that also. And then leadership and team building, which also is practiced because they work in group projects very intensively during the 2 weeks, and presentation skills I mentioned. So if we look at the business cases, we formed the groups sort of self-organized. We said we have different application areas. We use as textbook a book by Jan Höller at Ericsson Research and colleagues of his, and it has organized applications into various areas that are quite reasonable categories, like healthcare and so forth. And then we put out labels for these areas, and we said to the students, go stand next to the label where you feel that you would like to work in. This way we got 5 distinct groups of basically balanced size. And then we got 2 groups that were 3-4 students in each group, one in automotive and one in environmental. So we merged those 2, as you will see. So we had one working on healthcare and well-being. The group called themselves Fantastic, which is an active walking stick. So we saw the relator in the previous, this would be a stick, and here's the charming group that was doing that case. Another group selected farming, so they created the IOF, or IoT, Intelligent Organic Farming, sensors to monitor all the parameters that you need for farming, to avoid pesticides, to avoid extra irrigation and so forth. Infrastructure, Group EASY, they wanted to build an evacuation system, a guidance system during evacuations, to avoid, of course, fatalities when there's a fire or whatever it could be. IndyTank, a group that looked at the water supply of monitoring the quality of water if you collect water in rain tanks, or the wells that you might have in your summer homes, and you taste it and say, oh, it's not too bad, I can probably drink it. But maybe it's better to have a real measurement system for it. The group that was merged between environmental and automotive is called Aerometer, and they are present here for a special reason I will mention. So they work on air quality meter. And consumer electronics was group Family, that has an active picture frame where students can upload photos and notes to and place this picture frame with their grandparents who are not internet savvy, and they will have greetings presented to them automatically. So a push medium from the student to the grandparents. And retail and banking, a group called 404 Solutions, that work on making the in-store experience as good as the online experience. So flipping around so that retail doesn't go online, but actually the retail stores become as attractive as online stores. So there you have a quick run through of the various ideas. The summer school was structured in 2 parts. The first part was an ideation part, where we were providing lectures and inspiration talks to get the students started on their own idea. By the end of the first week, they had their first pitch in front of everyone else on the idea that they selected. Then the second week was to solidify the idea that is selected in order to make a case that could be presented in front of a panel on the last day, which we were happy to have that presentation at Ericsson in an auditorium, which make the students feel that it was more for real than if we would have had it in the campus site where we had the school. So all groups pitched their ideas, and we had a panel of business experts drawn from, Göran was there, Henrik was there, and colleagues from Ericsson, and one of the outside lecturers was in the panel. They selected a winner, which was the team Aerometer, and that team is now here on site. They have been now practicing their pitch, because tomorrow in the idea challenge that is run on for IoT, they are allowed to pitch their idea out of competition. So they're not part of the competition, but they pitch in the same way as the competitors do. And we hope that they will beat everyone, at least get the strongest response. A intensive school like this, running from 9 in the morning for us until 6, 7 in the evening, for the students for another 4 or 5 hours until bedtime. It takes a lot of people. So Martin and I have been on site the whole time, but we also relied on several instructors coming and complementing us in various fields. My colleague Sonja Buchegger was there to teach privacy. Jörg Widmer is a very renowned researcher from India Networks in Madrid, an ERC fellow. He was there to talk on millimeter wave communication, which could be very interesting for things communication. John Forneyhead from Ericsson was talking about IoT and connected to the business area of IoT that's building up at Ericsson. Herman Brand was presenting standardization. Magnus Melander, who you know here, was giving a talk of entrepreneurship in the M2M and IoT area. Niklas Sahlgren from Jansi was talking about Jansi and the trip that Jansi is doing. Andy Kars was teaching the Lean Ventures. Eric Dirk was here talking business acceleration. Manfred Dasselar was talking business modeling. He's with Ericsson Research. And Greg Van Orek from Stockholm School of Entrepreneurship was talking about leadership and teams. And Olle Bergman was talking, teaching the students how to prepare a presentation, and then he was drilling them, and they had to pitch in front of him, and he was giving feedback, so we sharpened the skills in that way. We're also very happy to have had Tobias Wahlner and Henrik Brumgen and my students Silvia Koyomdieva as coaches for the project groups, and have also benefited a lot from excellent help that we got from the staff at EIT Digital. Elisabeth Salberg, who's been running all the practicalities for us of arranging the venue and everything on site. Marianne Lohr for the marketing and communication, and Maria Mustonen for dealing with the students in the master school. So what have we learned? We see that a clear communication of the expectation has been very important. We've been running the summer school now for 2 years, and Martin had the excellent idea that the students after the first year should write testimonials. And they wrote very much what we had hoped them to write. They said, oh, the summer school was great. I learned a lot, but it was so much work. So don't select this school unless you're willing to work a lot. So this is actually what we wanted to hear. So when we made the presentation material for the selection for the students for the past summer, we pointed to, why don't you consult the testimonials of the students from last year to see if this summer school is for you. So the students we got this year were very motivated and were willing to work a lot. And we were very happy to see on the testimonials that they were also very happy about the summer school, so it worked out. We also permit a few external students to come in. Now we had a higher number of EIT Master School students, so we in the end ended up with 5 external students. But a small number I think is stimulating. They have different experiences. Some have more advanced degrees or working towards a PhD, so they bring in a technical expertise that is good for the groups. We noticed that even though there is the master's programs are a blend of technology and entrepreneurship and innovation curriculum, it doesn't necessarily stick in the minds of the students. They tend to have 2 modes, and they either think as engineers or they try to think as fledgling business persons, and it's not clear that they really integrate that. I think it's training, and the business and the summer school is certainly a case where they train this. But it should be known that they're not fully integrated in their minds. And on the technical side, we find that when they come up with an idea, they have difficulties in saying, okay, I have my idea, now I can architect the system to address the idea that I have. And this is probably a failure on behalf of our engineering curriculum, that we don't work top-down on a broad, abstract problem statement and break that down, which could be broken down over multiple courses. We go software engineering parts, could be hardware engineering parts, security, communication protocols, and we don't work like that in our engineering. We work on the components and hope that the students will integrate that. And here we see that it doesn't necessarily work that way. So next year we will add an exercise on this particular topic to train the students in breaking down a big statement, abstract statement, into an architecture, and breaking that architecture down into components and so forth, and then addressing that in the work also. As I said, the students worked a lot, and that's also what they say. So, but I think this is also vital to achieve what is possible in 2 weeks. they got very far with the ideas in the 2 weeks, and they wouldn't have had that pleasure of presenting such mature cases after 2 weeks if they would have been hanging out in the center of the city all the time. So the plans for next year, my colleague Victoria Fodor will take over as the project leader. Martin, I'm very happy to stay on, teach the I&E curriculum. We run the same setup because it's working. We modified it a little bit, and the students are happy with it, so there's no reason to change it. We will add this system architecture, as I mentioned, and hopefully you can make also some field visit to things, for instance, or SUP 46 or what, something similar. Could be to ABB or Ericsson also. It's vacation time, so it might be a little bit difficult to arrange it. In 2014, we had a hackathon run by Evo Things. They were not available last summer because of vacations, but we would try to connect back to them and see if we can get back that hackathon. That was very appreciated the previous time we gave the course. If you're interested to find out and see the student testimonials, to see what they've written about, reviews of papers they've read and everything, the whole curriculum, schedules and everything, you find it on this web page here. So in conclusion, it's very rewarding to be teaching a course like this. You see how the students mature, how they progress in only a matter of 2 weeks. And we get very curious to stay in touch with the groups. We want to see what happens with the good ideas they have. Will they continue to push them, or will they take the idea and work some other constellations? You bond quite well to them in just a matter of 2 weeks. The key to this is that we have been able to attract such good and motivated students. Without that, this wouldn't have been much fun. It would have been rainy weather and nagging students. So students worked hard and they were happy. So this combination is what the teacher would like to have, right? Teachers worked hard and were very happy, so this is also good. And we hope also that now EIT Digital is happy. We will see about that when we get the reviews. Thank you.